When Tommy Rees let slip a few words too many during a post-practice interview, the Browns' long-simmering quarterback mystery cracked open. Rees's offhand admission about Shedeur Sanders' readiness and leadership in the huddle exposed what many had only speculated. Sanders isn't just developing, he's already outperforming expectations. The slip was brief, but it was enough to flip the script. Now, every vague team update looks like deliberate misdirection, and Dillon Gabriel's quiet consistency is being eclipsed by whispers of a rising star the Browns seem desperate to keep quiet.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This moment reframes everything. The restricted footage, the evasive pressers, the tension between marketing and merit. Rees's accidental honesty unraveled the Browns' entire strategy. Instead of controlling the hype, they've become its biggest accelerant, fueling Shedeur Sanders' myth with every attempt to hide him. As the chaos builds, it's clear, Sanders' rise isn't just a possibility. It's already happening. The Cleveland Browns quarterback room is officially a circus, and the ringmaster just dropped the mic. It all started with a single slip-up from offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. One moment of unfiltered honesty during an otherwise forgettable press conference, and suddenly the entire quarterback situation is on fire. Rees accidentally confirmed what fans and media have been suspecting for weeks. Shedeur Sanders is progressing fast, much faster than the Browns are letting on. And just like that, the Browns' carefully controlled narrative collapsed into a pile of contradictions and speculation. What followed wasn't just a PR blunder. It was a full-on unraveling. The Browns have been playing a risky game of secrecy from the jump. For weeks, the team has refused to release any meaningful practice footage of Sanders. Not a single clean throw, not one extended drill, nothing. Just vague updates and cryptic quotes. They've been treating this kid like a state secret, all while trotting out safe, predictable content around Dillon Gabriel, who's clearly been positioned as the guy for now. But in 2025, you can't just hide a quarterback prospect with last-name recognition and a camera-ready personality. That's not how the internet works anymore. Every time the Browns go silent, fans go digging. Every time a clip gets cropped or a quote gets sanitized, Twitter threads get longer. Reddit detectives sharpen their timelines. YouTube analysts zoom in on shadows in the background of drills trying to catch a glimpse of Shedeur. It's absurd, but it's real. The Browns tried to manage the hype. They tried to dial it down to keep Shedeur under wraps until the moment was right. But all they've done is make the hype uncontrollable. Because nothing stirs the pot more than a blackout. When you refuse to show the goods, fans assume they must be really good. And now we know, they were right. Tommy Rees's little oops moment confirmed everything. He admitted, almost casually, that Shedeur's development has accelerated beyond expectations. That he's making serious progress. And just like that, the entire facade of he's still learning collapsed. Rees gave everyone a peek behind the curtain, and what they saw wasn't a raw prospect. It was a quarterback already breathing down Dillon Gabriel's neck. That one moment kicked the door wide open. Suddenly, the fan theories didn't seem so far-fetched. The mystery wasn't just a marketing move, it was a panic move. The Browns are terrified of losing control over the Shedeur Sanders narrative. And now, they've lost it completely. Let's be real. The moment the Browns drafted Shedeur, the storyline was set. The son of Deion Sanders, college football royalty, charismatic as hell and shockingly talented, he was always going to dominate headlines. What the Browns didn't expect was that he'd dominate the locker room buzz too. Gabriel may have had the early edge and experience, but Sanders had the momentum, the magnetism, and most importantly, the mystery. And that mystery turned into obsession. The team's refusal to release anything concrete about Shedeur only poured gasoline on the fire. Practice footage was cropped. Media access was limited. Coaches ducked questions or answered them with generic coach speak. They wanted to control the timing of his breakout. But fans? They don't wait around. They speculate. They theorize. And in the absence of truth, hype becomes legend. Now it's spiraled into a full-blown cultural moment. Online forums are picking apart every blurry practice photo. Analysts are reading between every line of every press conference. Fans are creating entire content ecosystems around what might be going on behind closed doors. The Browns accidentally created a mythic figure, and the longer they try to suppress it, the bigger it grows. It's ironic. The Browns tried to avoid a quarterback controversy. They ended up creating the most dramatic one in recent memory. And it's not just the media running wild. Internally, things are starting to crack too. You can feel the tension. Reese's slip wasn't just a mistake, it was a symptom. A moment of honesty from someone clearly feeling the pressure of balancing development with PR strategy. It's the kind of thing that doesn't happen when everyone's on the same page. It happens when you're trying to put out fires while pretending everything's fine. And the truth is, this isn't new for the Browns. Dysfunction is practically a tradition in Cleveland. Overthinking, overmanaging, and underdelivering, that's the playbook. This time it's playing out in the quarterback room. But we've seen this pattern before. A team so scared of making the wrong move that they paralyze themselves trying to orchestrate the perfect one. Meanwhile, Shedeur just keeps rising. Because here's the thing, talent doesn't stay hidden. Not in this era. Especially not when that talent is backed by charisma, media savvy, and a fanbase hungry for a new face of the franchise. Sanders has all the ingredients. And now, thanks to the Browns' overly cautious tactics, he has a mythos too. He's not just a quarterback prospect anymore. He's a storyline. A symbol. The guy the franchise is scared to unleash. And fans are living for it. At this point, it doesn't even matter what the Browns intend to do. They've lost the ability to steer this ship. The more they try to stall, the more inevitable Shedeur's rise feels. Every vague answer. Every strategic delay. Every PR-crafted message. It all screams fear. Not of failure, but of what happens when Sanders takes over. Because when that moment comes, and it will, there's no going back. Dillon Gabriel, for all his polish and preparation, is now the placeholder. He's the guy holding the mic before the headliner takes the stage. And that's not his fault. It's just reality. The Browns' own actions have set up Sanders as the main event, and they can't unring that bell. Even if Gabriel plays well, the fanbase will still be watching the sidelines. Still waiting. Still treating every moment as a countdown. And that pressure? That tension? It doesn't go away with more secrecy. It only gets worse. The Browns are learning the hard way. You can't manage charisma. You can't downplay buzz once it's out of the bag. And you definitely can't hide a quarterback who was born to dominate headlines. If anything, the Browns' suppression strategy has handed Sanders the perfect launch pad. He's now both the underdog and the inevitable. The player we haven't seen enough of, and yet the one everyone is convinced is the future. That duality is rare. And it's powerful. The team wanted to protect him. Maybe buy him time. Let him grow without the spotlight. But by keeping him in the shadows, they've turned him into a legend before he's even taken a meaningful snap. This is no longer a football decision. It's a narrative tidal wave. And the Browns are trying to surf it with floaties. At the core of all this is a franchise so obsessed with controlling the story that they forgot how quickly stories evolve without them. Shedeur Sanders was going to get attention regardless. The Browns just made sure it reached mythological levels. And now, every move they make, every silence, every coy response, is just fuel. Every effort to delay his debut just turns up the volume. It's like trying to put out a fire with a fog machine. The optics are smoke, but the flames are still there. Eventually they'll have to let him play. And when they do, it won't just be about performance. It'll be about living up to the legend they accidentally helped build. That's the real kicker here. The Browns created a quarterback controversy by trying to avoid one. They created a media storm by trying to calm one. They didn't just lose control of the narrative, they turned it into a spectacle. And at the center of that spectacle? A quarterback with all the tools, all the presence, and now all the momentum. Shedeur Sanders isn't waiting in the wings anymore. He's the story. And the Browns? They're just trying to keep up. Let us know in the comments. Do you think the Browns will eventually cave to the pressure and start Shedeur, or will they double down on the slow play? Hit that subscribe button for more breakdowns like this, and we'll see you in the next meltdown. The Browns thought they were being smart. They thought if they could keep things vague, hide the practice tape, give polished interviews, drown the hype in coach speak, they'd maintain control. That by delaying Shedeur Sanders' debut, they'd protect him, ease him in, and avoid what they clearly feared most, the dreaded quarterback controversy. Because nothing derails a season like a locker room split between the guy who's starting and the guy who should be. But here's where the logic fell apart. The Browns tried to play chess with a fanbase that's playing TikTok Speed Connect 4. They didn't factor in the era they're operating in, a digital landscape where content leaks faster than you can say QB1, where fans don't sit around waiting for press releases. They hunt for clues. They amplify the smallest detail. They create narratives out of silence. And that silence? It was deafening. Every time Shedeur's name came up, the Browns downplayed it. They used words like developing and working through the system and not quite there yet. All while refusing to show anyone what there even looks like. But once Reese slipped up, once he confirmed that Shedeur was actually developing at lightning speed, those reassurances started to sound less like strategy and more like panic. Because if he is progressing and the team is keeping him benched, then what's the real reason? That's the question echoing louder and louder. The answer, if you read between the lines, is all about control. The Browns don't want Shedeur's rise to be dictated by social media, or fan sentiment, or Deion Sanders' celebrity orbit. They want it to be on their terms. But football doesn't work like that. Especially not when the quarterback in question is already a household name before he's thrown a single pass in the league. It's not just about performance. It's about optics, public perception, marketability. And this is where the Browns have fumbled the ball so badly it's almost impressive. Because by not giving people what they want, by resisting the spotlight, they accidentally created a bigger spotlight. They made Shedeur the forbidden fruit. The player who must be so good, so exciting, so threatening, that even glimpsing his practice reps would cause chaos. And honestly, the quarterback room has become the center of Browns discourse, overshadowing everything else. Training camp updates aren't about formations or defensive schemes, they're about who got more reps, who looked sharper, who's being talked about off camera. Dillon Gabriel is supposed to be the calm in the storm, but now he's the placeholder, constantly compared to someone the public isn't even allowed to fully see. That's an insane level of pressure. And it didn't have to be this way. If the Browns had just been transparent, if they'd shown Shedeur's development honestly, let fans buy into his journey instead of inventing one, they might have built something sustainable. But the manufactured mystery turned organic buzz into obsession. And now it's out of their hands. And it's not just external chaos. You think the locker room isn't feeling this? Players talk. They see what fans see. They know when a guy is the real deal. And when a quarterback is balling out in practice but not getting any shine, questions start. Morale gets weird. Leadership gets murky. It becomes less about who's starting and more about why. So now, instead of having a clear, confident QB plan, the Browns are navigating an iceberg field of bad optics, rising expectations and mounting pressure, all of which they created. It's a case study in overmanagement. In thinking you can outmaneuver the internet. Spoiler, you can't. And the worst part? This isn't unfamiliar territory for Cleveland. This team has spent years making moves that seem strategic but end up imploding under scrutiny. They've built and rebuilt quarterback rooms like they're playing franchise mode on rookie difficulty. And now they've got a potential franchise-changing player, and they're too scared to let him speak for himself. The fanbase knows it. The media knows it. And now, thanks to Reese's little unfiltered truth bomb, the league knows it. Shedeur Sanders is ready. Or at least, he's ready enough to cause panic. He's not some raw developmental project anymore. He's not just getting his feet wet. He's accelerating. And every day the Browns sit on that information. Every day they trot out Gabriel while hiding Shedeur behind vague pressers. They look more and more like they're trying to manage a marketing problem, not a football team. And here's the thing. If this were just about football, Shedeur might already be taking first-team snaps. But it's not. It's about narrative. About ego. About the franchise not wanting to be told when to unleash their golden prospect. About resisting what the crowd is already chanting for. But resisting doesn't stop the chant. It just turns it into a roar. At this point, even if they stick with Gabriel, it's going to feel like a delay tactic. Like they're trying to stretch out the clock on something inevitable. And that's not a great vibe to build a season on. You can't inspire a locker room when the elephant in the room is a 5-star quarterback waiting in the wings with a social media army behind him. The Browns thought they could keep Shedeur's rise quiet. They thought they could time it just right. But the truth is, this is the rise. It's happening in real time. And every attempt to delay it is only making it louder. They didn't just miscalculate the public. They miscalculated the power of charisma. Because Shedeur isn't just talented. He's magnetic. He's born for the camera, for the soundbite, for the viral moment. That's not something you can hide. That's not something you can contain until week 8 when the schedule opens up. That's a force. And forces don't wait for permission. So now the Browns have two choices. They can lean in, own the chaos, and let Shedeur start writing his chapter. Or they can keep slow playing it, hoping the noise dies down, while the fanbase and media build the myth even higher. But here's the thing about myths, they don't stay myths forever. Eventually they meet reality. And if the Browns aren't careful, they're setting Shedeur up for a debut so hyped, so loaded with expectation, that anything less than fireworks will feel like a disappointment. That's the real danger. Not that he won't deliver, but that by trying to curate his rise, they've made the stakes almost impossibly high. This entire situation has spiraled from strategy to spectacle. And it's a spectacle of their own making. The Browns didn't need to turn their quarterback room into a reality show. But by trying to keep secrets, they made every move feel like an episode cliffhanger. Every press conference is a teaser trailer. Every roster update is a leak. The entire franchise is caught in a loop of trying to control a storyline they accidentally made too big to contain. And Shedeur? He just keeps getting bigger. Every day he's held back, his legend grows. Every rep he doesn't take becomes the rep that could have changed the game. That's the weight of suppression in today's media landscape. It doesn't kill momentum, it supercharges it. And in this case, it's not a matter of if Shedeur takes over. It's when. Because no matter how the Browns try to spin it, the narrative has already chosen its main character. And he's not Dillon Gabriel. He's not Tommy Rees. He's not even the head coach. It's Shedeur. He's already the headline. The flashpoint. The focus of fan energy and media speculation. And the longer he stays on the sidelines, the more gravity he builds. Until one day the Browns won't have a choice. The hype won't just be deafening, it'll be undeniable. And when that day comes, when Sanders finally steps onto the field, it won't be just about football. It'll be about vindication. For the fans. For the media. For the narrative that's been building unchecked and unfiltered, while the franchise tried to hit the pause button. But time doesn't pause. And hype doesn't wait. So the Browns can keep playing defense in press conferences. They can keep crafting safe statements and vague updates. But the truth has already slipped out. Their secret's already out. Shedeur Sanders is ready. And the world is watching. This isn't just about a quarterback competition anymore. This is about a franchise being dragged, kicking and screaming, into the spotlight it claimed to be avoiding. Because when you look past the media spin and strip away the carefully worded coach quotes, what's really happening in Cleveland is a slow-motion identity crisis. The Browns are trying to build a brand rooted in discipline, development, and control. But now they're caught in a narrative fueled by hype, charisma, and unpredictability. And they're failing to navigate the space between. They thought they could steer the Shedeur Sanders experience like it was just another personnel decision. Just another young player learning the system. But Sanders isn't a background character. He's not waiting patiently for his moment. He is the moment. And everything about how the Browns are handling this proves they weren't ready for it. They underestimated what happens when you combine raw talent with media magnetism. They underestimated what Deion Sanders built, not just in terms of Shedeur's game but in terms of how he carries himself. How he commands attention. The aura. The certainty. The inevitability. You can't soft-launch someone like that. You can't stash Shedeur Sanders away like a development project and expect fans to just nod and wait. This isn't a fourth-round flyer. This is the son of one of the most iconic athletes in American sports history, with numbers, swagger, and receipts to back it up. The second he put on a Browns jersey, this stopped being a quiet transition plan. It became a countdown. And now the Browns are stuck in a holding pattern that's making everyone nervous. Coaches are giving contradictory signals. Rees let the truth slip, then tried to backpedal. The PR team is spinning like they're at a county fair. And through it all, Gabriel is expected to be the guy holding the clipboard in the starting job, knowing full well every incomplete pass might be the one that gets him yanked. There's no stability in that. No clarity. Just mounting pressure. And the fans? They feel it. You can hear it in the chants. See it in the comment sections. They're not anti-Gabriel. They just know what they want. And what they want is to see what Sanders can do when it actually matters. Not in the shadows. Not through a slip-up in a press conference. But under the lights. The Browns could have gotten ahead of this. They could have said, yes, Shedeur is the future. Yes, we're excited. Yes, we're managing his reps, but he's everything we hoped for. Give people something. Let them buy in. Instead, they chose secrecy. Which, in today's sports culture, is the same as lighting a match in a fireworks factory. Because the second you don't show the footage, people assume you're hiding something magical. And once you confirm there is something magical, it's game over. You can't go back to, he's just developing. You already cracked the narrative open. Now you're just giving the audience time to build the legend themselves. And that legend is growing fast. Shedeur has become the symbol of everything the fans are waiting for: excitement, change, swagger, hope. He's not just a player. He's a projection. A fantasy. And every delay from the team is being interpreted as fear. Fear of the pressure. Fear of losing the locker room. Fear of messing up again. Because let's not act like the Browns have earned the benefit of the doubt here. This is a franchise that has fumbled its way through quarterback decisions for decades. Every year it's a new, fresh start. Every season, another reset. And now that they finally have a prospect with real, tangible star power, they're trying to slow walk it like it's 1995 and nobody's watching? Please, people are watching. More than ever. And every day that Shedeur sits behind Gabriel, who, let's be honest, is solid but not spectacular, the questions are only going to get louder. Not because Gabriel is doing anything wrong, but because the Browns created a spectacle and are acting shocked that it's become one. They built the tension. They set the stage. They cast the leading man. And now they're pretending the audience doesn't want the curtain to rise. It's not working. And what makes this even more maddening is that it could have been different. If the Browns had been transparent from the start, if they had simply acknowledged what everyone could already see, that Shedeur isn't just some rookie learning the ropes, but a serious talent with serious upside, then this rollout could have had grace. It could have felt earned. Instead, it feels like a cover-up. Like a team trying to micromanage fate. And that never ends well. Because eventually all roads lead to the field. Sooner or later, Sanders is going to take the snaps. And when he does, it's going to be under a microscope so intense, even a perfect pass might not be enough to satisfy the expectations they helped create. That's the curse of trying to suppress hype. You end up making it bigger than you can control. And now, control is gone. What the Browns are dealing with isn't a football issue anymore. It's a perception crisis. A credibility gap. A situation where every move looks reactive. Every word sounds rehearsed. And every week that goes by without Sanders seeing significant reps looks more and more like fear. And that fear? It's contagious. You can feel it in the way the coaching staff hedges their statements. In the way reporters tiptoe around questions. In the way the organization can't seem to decide if they're developing a future star or hiding one. That confusion trickles down. It infects confidence. It turns preparation into paranoia. And meanwhile, Shedeur just waits. Calm. Collected. Probably knowing full well that this entire machine is spinning around him, and there's not a thing they can do to stop it. Because this isn't a situation where a franchise has to convince people that the guy is the future. People already believe it. The Browns are the ones lagging behind, still acting like they're the ones holding all the cards. They're not. The fans hold the cards. The media holds the magnifying glass. The narrative holds the momentum. And Shedeur Sanders? He's the gravitational center of all of it. So what happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Do the Browns cave to the pressure? Do they finally lean into the chaos and let their future take the field? Or do they keep playing this weird long game, hoping to manage a storyline that's already left the station? Either way, the clock is ticking. The more they delay, the more expectations rise. And the more expectations rise, the more pressure lands squarely on Sanders' shoulders when his number finally gets called. It didn't have to be this dramatic. But now, it's too late. The Browns tried to suppress a star, and they ended up building a legend. Let us know in the comments, should the Browns hand the reins to Shedeur now, or are they smart to keep him on ice? And if you're here for more meltdowns, PR disasters, and sports drama, don't forget to subscribe. This ride is just getting started.